Hi everyone. In this session, I'll be covering one of the most important concepts in Python or in any other programming language, that is conditional statements. And by conditional statements, I mean if else. Okay. So before starting this concept, I will just tell you about what indentation is in Python. So in any other language, say C or C++, if we want to enclose any group of statements or any piece of code, we do it using the curly braces. Okay. So in case, uh, say we have statement 1, statement 1, and then we have statement 2, and if we have, say, an if condition. So in other language, what we do is that if this condition is being satisfied, we have to execute these two statements in the language. So this is how we segregate the different pieces of code in the language. If or else this is not satisfied, then we would have some other set of statements being executed in our application. Okay. So if this condition is satisfied, we execute these two statements. If this condition is not satisfied, we will execute this statement 3. So as you can see, everything is being enclosed or encompassed in this uh, curly braces that we have. Whereas in case of Python, we replace these curly braces by using something as indentation, that is nothing but tab on your keyboard. Okay. So this is exactly what we do in Python. So we don't have any concept or any problems or anything associated with curly braces. Here we basically deal with its tab, and this becomes really crucial when you write a very big program, because indentation is not done correctly. This would result in failure of your program. Also, when we use this indentation, we also use something as this colon. Okay, what this colon is tells the compiler that anything following this with an indentation would be part of this keyword. In case of ours, at this point of time, it is else. Okay. We'll get to know about this in much detail later on, but I assume that with this, it is pretty much clear what indentation is all about in Python. Okay, I'll just remove this. So I've already shown how the syntax of an if-else statement is in Python. So if a certain condition is satisfied, we run a set of statements. If that condition or some other condition is satisfied, we'll run a different set of statements. And if none of these conditions are satisfied, we'll use the third group of statements for our program. Okay. So I'll just elaborate this with three main scenarios. The first scenario, as you can read it from here, is that in a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we have to check if one is part of it. Is one is part of this list or not? Okay, that is what we want to check. Part of the list, or rather put it like this. Yeah. Okay. And this is scenario. So for the first scenario, that is in a list. Yeah. In a list, we have to check if one exists or not. So as per the syntax that we have here, first we'll write if keyword, then we'll put the condition. So what is the condition? If one is in, first let's define the list. L1 Li is equal to 1 2 1 2 3 4 4 and 5. Okay. If one is in list, by the way, if you are not aware of these operators, you can go back and check the playlist. I have made a dedicated section on the different operators that we have in Python. Okay. So if one is in list li, then we have to print yes, one is part of the list. Okay. Else, we have to print no. One is not part of the list. Right? Very easy program to understand. We'll save this. I've saved this as session4.py. I'll go to I'll show you how exactly we open it. So we basically save the application in this particular directory. We'll click here. We'll enter cmd, press enter. This opens as a command prompt with this path. And now I'll show you. Here you can see the session4.py file exists. Now I'll run the application. Okay, session4.py. So as you can see, this prints out yes, one is part of the list. Okay, I'll go back to the program. Okay, had one been not part of this list. Okay, I'll just manipulate the list a little. I'll save this. I'll go and re-execute the application. It shows no, one is not part of the list because the list doesn't have one anymore. Okay, so this is how we implemented our first scenario. Pretty straightforward and good for a very beginner. So let's see second scenario that we have in here. So say for example, as per the salary bracket, we have to identify whether an associate is highly paid, well paid, or poorly paid. So let's set the benchmark as 10,000. Okay. So let's say let's declare a variable salary associate. Okay, associate. Let the salary be 6,000. Now we have to check if salary of the associate is less than 5,000. If it is so, then we have to print. I'll just remove this confusion. Print the he is highly paid. I set the benchmark as 5,000. So any salary beyond 5,000 would be highly paid. Okay. If this is the second condition. So basically, the idea of the scenario is to make you understand of the concept of LF. So this is the second condition. If the salary of the associate is less than sorry, should be less than 5,000 and salary of the associate is greater than 2,500, then the associate is moderately paid. That is well paid. Else, the salary is less than 2,500, then the salary then we'll say poorly paid. Perfect. Easy to understand. So the only difference that you see from the last scenario is that this extra elif condition, elif keyword is coming into picture. So if you have multiple conditions to check with, so then elif is being used in Python. We save this, we go back to our CMD, we run this. Remember the salary of the associate given is 6,000. So as you can see, since it is greater than 5,000, he is highly paid. Now, say if we change the salary to 1,000, okay, what should be the result? The result should be poorly paid. I run this, save this, run this program again. You can see it. The associate is poorly paid. If I change this to say 3,000, save this, run the program. It will say well paid or moderately paid. Okay. So scenario two is done. I'll just remove this. Coming to the scenario three. This is a little complicated if you're a beginner. Okay, so what our scenario is, we have to check for a number if it is greater than 20. If it is greater than 20, then we have a second set of conditions that we have to check against. So the second part of it is the number is greater than 40 or not. If it is less than 40, then we have to print a statement saying the number is greater than 20 but less than 40. And if the number is greater than 40, we have to print the number is more than 40. And if the number is not greater than 20 at itself at the first place, then we have to check for a then we have to print the statement the number is less than 40. Pretty straightforward. So in just, I'll say, if we have to check if the number is greater than 20, if it is greater than 20, we'll check if the number is greater than 40 or not, and accordingly we have to print the statement. And if the number is not great is less than 20, then this statement is to be printed. Okay, implementing the same logic in the code, what how will I do it? I'll say if, say, the number is 35, if x is greater than 20, then we'll put the indentation, and in the indent after the indentation we'll again check if the number is greater than 40 or not. Okay, if it is greater than 40, we'll print number is more than 40. Else, we'll check the number is greater than 20 but less than 40. Right. And if the number is not greater than 20 at the first place, we'll just print the number is less than 20. Okay. So as you can see, we are having an if else condition within an if else condition. So this concept is basically known as nested if else conditions. Okay, we call it as nested if else. I save this, I go back to my CMD, run this application. Here you will say, not saved it. Yeah, okay, I've not saved it. Now I'll go back here. I think this settings, I have to just close this. I'll save this. I'll go back to my directory. Click here, CMD, screen opens. Now I run Python session 4.py. Okay, as you can see, it shows the number is greater than 20 but less than 40, and this is exactly what we expected. 35. Okay, now say I change the number to 65 and save this, go back to my screen, run this. You see, the number is more than 40. Okay, so this is very understandable at this point of time. Now if we say the number is 10, we save this, run this, we see the number is less than 20. So what exactly is happening? If the number is 35, okay, the compiler will check for x greater than 20 or not. Yes, 35 is greater than 20, then it will get into this statements. Next, it will check if the number is greater than 40 or not. Definitely, it's not 40. So it will, the control will move into the else part. Here, as you can see, the only piece of code that we have is this print statement. So it will basically print it on the screen for us. Had it been something else like 65, it would check the first condition. The first condition is definitely met. It will get into this portion of the code. It will check for the condition here if the number is greater than 40 or not. If in our case, since it is 65 now, yes, it is greater than 40. So it will go here, print the statement. Okay. Had it been 10, like in our case, okay, so what would happen? It would check the first condition, the number is greater than 20 or not. this turns out to be false. So the control, instead of going inside this, would directly move on to the line number 33. Okay. And what statement that we have in this part is that number is less than 20, and that is exactly what it would be printed. Okay. So I think the session was pretty clear now. And any questions you can put in the comment section. So yeah, that's it for today. Thank you.